Amen. This week we hear about another miracle of Christ. Last week we heard about the miracle of the multiplication of bread and fish for the masses. And today we are left off at that exact same gospel. At this point, Christ, as we hear, dismisses the disciples and he sends them into a boat. He sends away the people and he goes to a mountain to be alone. When he performed the miracle of bread, the multiplication of bread, he was trying to be alone then too. He was trying to pray. He was trying to find solitude. He's been weary because he's been performing these healings and miracles and teaching nonstop. So he needed some time alone. And so as the disciples go off into the boat, he remains in seclusion for the entire night. The entire night. Well, the seas of Galilee whipped up winds, and a tumultuous storm came upon the disciples. And the gospel says that it was in the fourth night that Christ actually comes to them. That means it was right before dawn. It was all night the disciples were in this boat, having probably the most frightening time of their life in this storm on the Sea of Galilee. So what did Christ do? He came to them, walking on water, of course, as we are very familiar with this miracle, and tells them, "Do not be afraid, be at peace, I'm here." The miracle of walking on water seems to boggle the mind a little bit, but it's really not essential for us. What's more important is the experience of the disciples that evening, that night. Christ knew about that storm. There's no way he did not know that the apostles were in that boat, frightened to death, and enduring the temptation of that storm. He absolutely knew it, but he waited until dawn to come to them. And it tells us, brothers and sisters, one thing here, that we too, when we experience these storms in our lives, these trials and temptations, the sinful ways, our despondencies, our impurities, these are all the things, these storms of our lives, Christ knows about it. And he doesn't come to rescue us right away. He lets us endure it. He lets us have the trial. He did in the gospel today with the disciples. He did not come as their rescuer as soon as they were in trouble. He let them endure it. Because during those trials and temptations, our faith grows. But sometimes we don't remember that Christ is in our midst. He was in their midst as well. And so we turn away from God and try to solve our temptations without him, without his grace. Our prayers don't go to him first and foremost. And so he allows us to continue to be in our temptation, in our trial, enduring the temptations. But ultimately, brothers and sisters, he comes to us unexpectedly. When we think all our hope is lost, he'll be there. He'll be there to relieve us of that temptation. But we have to understand that sometimes we just have to endure it. For the time we have to endure the trials that we're in. He's still with us, but we have to just get through it. And he'll calm and relieve us of that storm in his time, on his terms. Now, the second important thing of this gospel that I want to talk about is Peter. When Christ comes in the midst of the disciples, and they're scared, they think they've seen a ghost, Peter, with his boldness, as only Peter could, says, "If it is truly you, bid me to come unto you." He wants to be able to walk to him. And Christ says, "Well, come." And we know what happens. Peter takes a couple steps and begins to sink. And the fathers of the church tell us that this whole scenario that's going on is kind of a synopsis of our lives, so to speak. That the boat is our lives in this world. We're inside that boat. And sometimes around us it's a rocky sea. It's temptation. It's got a lot of storms that come often to us in this life. We all know that. But at the end of the age, Christ still comes. He's coming again. He did his ministry all through the watch of the night. He sent the prophets to us. He came to show us that he was truly God. He was crucified. He wiped away all the sin of humankind. And now he's going to come back to us. And so we have to now approach Christ. We have to approach him. But if we approach him with sinful ways, with the heavy weight of the world that's within that boat, if we walk onto that water towards him, we will sink. We will sink. And so we have to try to remove all our earthly worries, all our sinful ways, all our things that kind of keep us from really following Christ and being in his midst and in his embrace in order to truly come to him. That's what faith is. To have faith in Christ is to move towards him and leave all the rest behind. And this is why Christ said, why didn't you have faith? Only if you had faith. But there's one thing that I don't want to be remiss of mentioning in this gospel. What happens when Peter sinks? He brought the world with him, and he sunk. Did Christ abandon him because of it? No. All Peter had to say was, Lord, help me. I'm sinking. And he was pulled up. So despite our frailties and our weaknesses, brothers and sisters, despite the fact that we have many weaknesses and that we make mistakes and that we're moving to Christ but not in the speed that we would like, that we have some faith but it's also filled with a lot of doubt, and that prevents us from maybe walking on water towards him in a fast approach, it doesn't matter. In the end, I truly believe it, if we have a little bit of faith, and we, into our last breath, call out to Christ, Lord, help me, I'm sinking, he will save us. It doesn't matter how wretched we are, if we have just a little bit of faith. We may not be saintly, we may not be a miracle worker, we may be sinking due to our own sin, but if we have just a little faith and call upon the Lord, even to the very last moment, he will save us. He will save us. He can't help it. He's full of love. He wishes none of us to be thrown to the pit of the abyss. So, brothers and sisters, today we hear about this miracle of Christ walking on water. But the real miracle is that he allows us to grow as individuals, to grow closer to him, to abide with him. But sometimes we have to just endure our trials. And sometimes we have to shut off the worries of this world in order to get to him. And despite it all, he's going to save us. I truly believe it. But we have to have faith, just a little bit at least, to call upon him. Call upon him when we're in need, first and foremost, brothers and sisters. And he will save us. In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.